Yep. Oh yeah, is time.
Is it time? I don't know if it's time.
It's time.
Are we live? We're live.
We are live. We are live. Oh boy. Hey man.
What's up, Mr. Rob? How you doing on this fine Monday, February 7th?
Listen, I got back a couple minutes ago and need a little pick me up, a little juice, little. What do you call Matthew McConaughey, right? When he's like,
No, I don't.
All right. Yeah, I'll put a little.
I will take your word for it.
Remember that movie? Matthew McConaughey was sitting there doing the tribal rhythms on his chest.
No, I remember
Wolf of Wall Street.
Gone in 60 Seconds when Nicolas Cage was listening to Lowrider.
Right.
And then he was like, let's go.
Well, that was kind of like us because I had a little System of a Down going on. And it was good. It was good. So yeah, how are you, John? How are you on this fine Monday morning?
It's not bad. I don't know. I feel like there's not much going on today. Of course, someone's going to call me like right now. So give me a second here. No.
Fair enough. Well, hey, thanks everybody who showed up so far. This is the Heroes World Sidekick Show. The guy over here, I did it right the first time. Holy shit.
Holy shit. The first time in 2 years. Let's go. Oh, look at this. Yes.
Yeah. Like the
2 years plus, folks. We figured it out.
That over there is John Ho. I am Rob Gadet. And we have got one hell of a show for you tonight. As you may or may not know, if you are new to the show, hey, welcome. We are in the midst of our 90s action movie bracket, which is the best movie of the 1990s. We are in the first part of the decade. We're doing a separate bracket of 1990 to 1994. And tonight's showdown is between Léon, the professional, and Timecop. But before we get into all that, there's a little bit of housekeeping we have to do. We're going to go over what's new in the Heroes World comic shop, as well as some news. And I got some cool late-breaking news I'm excited to share as well. So,
Rob catching the news right.
Thanks to everybody.
Hot off the press.
That's right. Thanks to everybody for joining.
Hot off the tweet. I don't know what we're gonna call it these days now.
I have no idea.
It's getting goofy.
Hey, wait! Do you hear that, John?
Yeah. What is it?
There's no horns or sirens blaring in my neck of the woods, John. It's a good day.
No.
Thoughts to all of our friends out in Ottawa. That is not a hell of a lot of fun happening out there.
Yeah, we'll leave that. So yeah, so what we do is we usually cover some of the new stuff, like Rob said. So I'm just going to quickly go over it so we can get rolling on our topics tonight. So if you're not following Heroes World online, Henry Rollins, good guy. He was on Sons of Anarchy, right? On Instagram and Facebook, we post our new comic releases every Monday, so you can check that out and let us know what you need. So this week we do have Superman Son of Kal, number 8 coming out. So that's a really fun book. So if you haven't followed us there, then follow us there. And Rob, can I show you some cool stuff? I've got a special statue on deck for you.
Thank
and
God.
We're going to see if
last time you said that, I ended up in a bathroom and I was like, wait, what are you doing, John? Let me out.
No,
all right.
That's the OnlyFans account. We're not on that account right now.
We're not doing that one today.
Oh, Henry Rollins also in Deadly Class, eh? Have you checked out Deadly Class, Rob? I've been recommended.
I have not.
It a couple
I have
people.
Not.
I don't believe it has an ending, right? It wasn't renewed, or are people not up to date on that? Or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. To my understanding, it was on another
Deadly
network.
Class?
Yeah, Deadly Class.
I thought it was canceled.
Yeah, I was under the assumption it was canceled, and Netflix has picked it up, so maybe we'll see something happen with that. Maybe we'll check back with you at the end of the show, or if anyone in the comments knows what is going on with that show, let us know, and maybe we'll check it out on our next. But I feel like I'm going to be doing a second watching of Reacher before I get into anything else. So let's show you some cool stuff, Rob. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. We're going to go with some Sideshow Collectibles stuff. Preferably Hot Toys and some other companies, because it is all kind of like pop culture, media related, and in topics that we always cover on these types of shows. So these are things that you can pre-order with my shop at Heroes World, or whoever your local shop is, or you can order them directly off sideshow.com. if you are so inclined. I do recommend, if you are in Canada like us, you contact one of your friendly neighborhood vendors and let us take care of all those customs duties and whatever fees for you. So if you like any of this stuff we're showing you, let me know. All right. So first thing up.
You said duties?
Duties.
That's
duties.
cool.
Duties. We were in the Beavis and Butthead mode. So it has begun, Rob. So I showed you some hot toys that were coming out, some No Way Home stuff, and now the rest of the stuff is coming out. I think we're still not going to go into full spoilers, but I feel like by now everybody knows who's going to be appearing in this movie.
This at least one has been advertised through the wazoo on every trailer and poster. So yeah, this is safe to.
Yeah. So this is Green Goblin in No Way Home. So this is William Defoe reprising his role. Comes with the Goblin glider, a very nice piece. This is the deluxe version. They do have a regular version. Unfortunately, it looks like the William Defoe sculpt is not quite ready. So we're gonna.
It's really weird. It looks like why would they? I was like, wait, did you do that? But I guess they've done that. It kind of looks like Tom Cruise smiling. I gotta say, with that hair.
Yeah. Well, the world will never know. But this happens. Sometimes it's pending licensor approval, or sometimes they like to keep the secret.
Likeness
and they drop
approval.
It. They drop it like a little bit before the pre-orders actually are like kind of complete or something like that. So the deluxe version does come with a glider. I don't know who is going to get this figure without the glider, because I think it will not look cool just Green Goblin standing there. But hey, you know what? If you're on a budget, then that's what it is. So you see his pumpkin bombs there, multiple heads. Hot Toys, like we said, is a 1/6 scale figure, almost like a doll. So what do you think you would pay for this deluxe version, Rob? We're going to go in USD, folks, because I'm too lazy to convert lately.
700.
700? Okay, I think you're a little on the high side again, but you're always high. So, so the deluxe version is 375 USD. So I guess converted to Canadian, it's a little closer.
700.
Yeah. 375, approximately 700 Canadian. Sounds about right sometimes. So you can get the deluxe version, or you can get the not deluxe version for 285. So you can save yourself some ducats there and have your Green Goblin taking the bus.
Can I just say that, like, these hot toys are really impressing me, man. Like, I feel like in the last 5 years they've totally upped their game on their sculpts and designs and stuff. So yeah. They've been killing it. So I'm going to switch to another figure here. So another one. So like I said, it's begun. So now we're going to see Alfred Molina reprising his role as a. That's not Alfred Molina. No, who's that guy? No, that's Ringo Starr. I was gonna say, okay, let me get a close up here. So this is Dr. Octopus. So you're not quite feeling this sculpt. It's not quite there, you think? Right?
Hello, everybody. It's Ringo Starr. I'm going to be playing with the Beatles.
I don't think he sounds like that.
I just ate some pickles and I feel kind of fancy.
It doesn't. It looks a little weird.
Is what he says, right?
Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Yeah. So not quite there. Maybe it's the angle. Maybe they just couldn't capture it. Maybe they don't have the license. Who knows? But this
John, yeah. I mean, it's what, the hair looks a bit off. I gotta say, he looks like the Unabomber, but whatever. That's just me.
Yeah. So we already saw the Spider-Man come out, and that was the Green Goblin, and now we've got Doc Ock. So you're gonna have a pretty epic display, folks. This is a deluxe version as well, and I think the deluxe version, the difference is that little gold box on top, Rob. He comes with the nano tentacles.
Okay.
Which I guess where the Iron Man he absorbs Iron Man. Who knows what he happens?
Well, because you don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. I was like, I forgot that some people haven't seen this, so sorry, folks. Yeah. So this Doc Ock, another deluxe figure. What are you guessing at this one? Looks like a lot more going on with the tentacles.
Well, since I was completely out of my element in the first one, and the other one was the price $375. I'm gonna say $425 USD.
$425. You're gonna up it like $50 for some tentacles.
Yeah.
So tentacle action will cost you an extra $50. Let's find out, folks.
That's generally what happens. Oh wow, $15 less.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe the Green Goblin armor and its shininess, maybe they have some metal components, or maybe it's just the metal finish. Not much difference between the deluxe and the regular edition, because you're just getting a couple extra tentacles or different designs of the tentacles. So it's pretty cool if you get this and you get your Spider-Man and you get your Green Goblin going on. there's a whole bunch of other figures you're going to have to get because lots of people show up in this movie. So if you haven't seen it, sit tight. You're going to be in for a hell of a ride. Let's go. The last statue I just want to show you quickly, Rob, is the one that you might be most interested in, and you might have to take out an extra mortgage or something like that. So we're going to jump to Prime One Studios, and we're going to look at this guy here. Do you recognize this gentleman?
Oh, I think I do. It's Mr. Val Kilmer.
Yeah. So this is the Batman Forever, which is the best Batman, right, Rob?
No.
You're not even going to humor me on that one? All right.
No. But accurate bat nipples. How's that?
Yeah. So this is a 1/3 scale. So these are humongous. I've opened a couple of these up before. They're, almost like 2 to 3 feet tall. They're pretty detailed. And this one comes with not only the statue, but I don't know if you noticed it, Rob, that whole gallery of bat items in the back.
Yeah, and I saw the extra cowl as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was a scene that was featured in the movie, like the where he opens it up and looks at all this gear and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. What do you think you would pay for something like this, Rob?
1/3 scale, you said?
Yeah, 1/3 scale, Prime One.
I feel like this is going to be bordering on like the 975.
975. All right, let's go here. So there's another shot of it.
This armor looks really good though, man.
Yeah, is this one of your favorite Batman armors? Like, is this better than the Keaton Batman suit?
Well, I think it's better than the Batman 89 suit. That one was really thick. Like the rubber they used on that thing, like it was like a half an inch off his face. Like it was thick. But I really like the Batman Returns costume way more than these ones. These ones, they looked way too, like, again, we joke about the bat nipples all the time, but it looks like it's painted on, whereas the Batman Returns wasn't like that. So
which one had the more angular one, the more angular muscles? Is that Returns? Or you mean that on the 6-pack where it was like square, like it was more like it was like more sharp and geometric, I guess you would say.
Yeah, that was Returns. Yeah.
So we got a whole bunch of guesses here. Rob, what did you say? You said around 900 something?
I think I said 950 or 975.
950? Yeah. All right, 975. All right, let's go. Dun-dun-dun. All right, so 1705.
I know. I was like, this thing is going to be at least like well over a G, and I was like, no, I'm going to go low just because John's surprising me lately.
Yeah, no. Don't forget, it comes with that entire wall in the background.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like you don't see it in this picture because I guess you can arrange the statue either to be standing in front of it or looking at it. Although that'd be a very funny display to just see the back of Batman. And then you just see all the gadgets and stuff like that. But yeah. So this is a big boy. Yeah. So I believe there is also a version without that extra contraption of all those gadgets and stuff like that. So if you want to save some money, but I feel like you want, if you're going to go all in, you're going to go all in, right?
That's what she said. Here's the thing is, listen, my feelings. I love 89. I love Returns. Batman and Robin is like my least favorite Batman movie they've ever made. Forever, at the time I enjoyed it. It's very campy to me. All this to say is that if I had the financial means to own each version, like that type of statue, because we know that old school Sideshow of the 89 one where he's walking down the spiral staircase.
Yeah.
Like if I would have all of those, because I think they all, like, that statue makes that suit look way better than I feel it deserves to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Well, also they have professional photographers taking pictures of these statues and things like that. So the lighting and all that kind of stuff is going to make it look hella incredible. So maybe even very it would rival actual screenshots possibly.
Yeah.
And then another quick shout out: we did get a restock of some of our staple board games. So you might recognize some of these: Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride, Azul, Seven Wonders, Splendor, Wingspan. We still have copies of Wingspan, very hot game. Citadels, Machikoro 2, Carcassonne, and a really great game, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. So if you're looking for something to play with your significant other, or you want to solo it, this is one of those kind of mystery games where you try and solve the case faster than Sherlock Holmes, which is near impossible, but you can try and see how close you get. But
do your best.
You do your best.
Wait, can you go back to that photo of the Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
I want to see what the spine. Oh, Carlton. Okay, forget it.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
that's a
Carlton.
follow-up. So each of these games comes with at least 10 kind of cases to solve.
Yeah.
And what you're given the newspaper from the day, and it'll kind of give you details, and you and whoever else is playing is supposed to pour over the newspaper and try to figure out where you should go, who you should talk to, places you should go and check out. So it's really cool. Once you solve it, you know it, but then they have more cases and things to follow up.
I like the magnifying glass on From Hell.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. All right, and that's all I got from the shop this week. The new Magic pre-release also is this Friday. I might do a separate video for that, but Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is a samurai cyberpunk themed Magic set, so everyone is really excited for it. If you're on my social media, you've seen me posting all kinds of fun stuff for it. But let's kick it to Rob, who's got some breaking news.
Well, I got some news, but hang on. Yeah. Gord, that suit does have the nipples, man. I think he means a statue, the sideshow statue. So yeah. Okay, John.
But in the movie, maybe he means in the movie. Did it?
Yeah, it did have nipples in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it did. Hey, John. Hey, buddy, remember when you used to geek out for San Diego Comic-Con news? And in like 2015, I'm sure you remember, Fox brought out all of the Marvel Fox stars, including X-Men actors, all the Deadpool actors. And then there was your Magic Mike, Channing Tatum, up on the stage, and they introduced him as Gambit. Do you remember this?
Yes, Step Up himself. Yeah, and
that's
I
right.
Think they had a clip of him like helping Stan Lee or something.
To get down and stuff.
Yeah.
That big
He's
cast
a good guy.
photo.
Good guy, Channing Tatum.
Yeah, well, in an interview last week with Variety, he shed some light on the Gambit movie that never came to pass. And he said that Gambit was essentially going to be like a fashion whore. Like, he was going to be wearing clothes that would be off of the runway. He was very flamboyant, and that the movie itself was a romantic comedy. So, John, knowing what we know about Gambit, is this one of those situations where we collectively dodged a bullet, or did we miss out on a really cool Gambit movie?
If you go through your back catalog of us playing funky ass games coming up with X-Men movies, my pitch is always for some type of rom-com.
Yes,
That's the genre they haven't gone into. I like the idea of the fashion, though. I think the fashion is pretty good. But I don't know if the world is ready for it. And if it's going to be, it would be typically Gambit and Rogue, one of the all-time kind of like iconic couples of comics. Who plays Rogue again?
It was Anna Paquin.
Yeah. So that it would have been an odd combination, but maybe they could have made it work. Did he say anything else about it? Is it going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. The merger between Disney and Fox acquisition, of Fox by Disney pretty much destroyed that movie. And he actually said, ever since all that has happened, he can't bring himself to watch any of the MCU movies because he feels too burned by the whole experience. So
yeah, or he saw his performance in that stupid Wolverine movie and was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He probably dodged a bullet.
That was Taylor Kitsch was Gambit, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Taylor Kitsch. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought Channing Tatum had a shot, but I guess he didn't have a shot. So maybe he could have worked. Yeah.
Hey, John, way back in pre-pandemic times, I would drop by the store every week. We would chat it up. And I think, during that time we became friends, bud, and then one day, we were talking a lot about our families and everything else. We were sharing a lot of things. And one day, I don't know if maybe you were on medication or something, but like you told me that your kink is like in older women. And then you told me that Marvel's Madam Web was like your fantasy. Well, Tom, John, it's time to break out the KY.
I really wish, take care of all the children, solve world hunger, and please give me a Madam Web solo movie.
Well, buddy, break out the KY because Sony has announced that Madam Web is headed for the big screen, and they've cast Dakota Johnson in the lead role. Now, this will be Sony's first female superhero spun out of the Spider-Man universe. So, John, how excited are you?
I'm not at all. I think you shot this out to like the chat, and I was like, "Who asked for the Madam Web? Is it a solo movie? Am I right, or am I just making a joke here?"
No, it's a solo movie. It's And I don't understand because she's supposed to be like this immortal figure, right? Like I've done a little bit of research on her. I think she was probably best known in the 90s Spider-Man animated series, right? You'd always kind of see her in that chair, rocking the B. Arthur hair and talking about, helping Spider-Man through time and everything else with that. So she's supposed to be like this immortal character who I guess has, placed herself throughout time. But I don't know, like, first of all, Dakota Johnson is definitely not of that vintage. And second so I don't know if this is like her beginnings.
There's not a fan, something fierce.
Wow. So yeah, at any rate, I don't know what this whole purpose is. Apparently, though, this kind of leads into the Spider-Woman movie that is being directed by Jason Sudeikis' ex-wife, Olivia, whatever, I can't remember her name. So, Olivia Wilde. Yeah, thanks. So at any rate, there you go, John. I listen, sometimes when you wish upon a star, things
Sarah pulls up to a Starbucks, orders her latte, is handed the latte by Dakota, and she throws it back in her face and goes, "No thanks." That's how upset she is about this.
Wow. Okay, I got a couple of quick hits though, John. The CW has greenlit some pilots for a couple of shows that may be of interest to either you or the people who are listening and watching. First, a Supernatural prequel called The Winchesters has been ordered to pilot. It will see Dean and Sam's parents fall in love and fight demons to save the world. Maybe this is good. I've never seen a single episode of Supernatural. I do know that Andre and
not a single, not even one episode.
No, you never saw one episode.
It's fun. I think you would actually really dig it if you're trudging through stuff. I think you for sure would dig it. I remember there was a little bit of controversy for this because I think Jensen Ackles is attached to it, but not the other brother.
He's too busy with Walker right now.
Yeah, Walker, Texas Ranger. But yeah, there was a little bit of
Jared
controversy.
Padalecki.
Yeah, because he was like, "What's going on now?"
Yeah.
So hopefully they've worked that out. But yeah.
Apparently there is a Walker spinoff happening. I didn't notate it for the news today, but that was also announced. As well, CW has greenlit a pilot for Gotham Knights based on the upcoming video game. We saw this back a couple of years ago at DC Fandom and whatnot. The idea of the story is that Bruce Wayne has been murdered. And his adoptive son has to form an alliance with the children of Batman's enemies to solve the crime. So that's, who knows if we're going to get the TV show first or the game, but that has been ordered to pilot. And speaking of video games, John, one of this year's most anticipated, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, has been delayed by developer Rocksteady until 2023. Now, current Warner CEO Jason Kilar has said that it may have to do with coinciding with some bigger rollout of DC properties of 2023. Who knows? But if you were kind of on the hype train for that Suicide Squad Kills Justice League, and we talked a bit about the trailers that they showed at the DC Fandom over the last couple of years. Sorry to say, much like every video game nowadays, it gets an announced release date. There's no point in thinking it's coming out.
Yeah, I usually don't even follow the video game news until I know the game's coming out. Like I know they announced that GTA 6 is in development or something like that. I'm like, I'm not even going to look at that. That's not going to be out till like freaking 5-10 years maybe. Who knows?
And finally, John, late breaking news, my friend. And I was going to send this to you privately, but I didn't want to. And I wasn't sure if our friend Scott was going to join tonight. And I thought, well, maybe he might be putting in the chat, but I don't think Scott is with us. Last Friday, John, February the 4th, saw Amazon Prime Video drop all 8 episodes of Reacher. The first season based on the Jack Reacher novel by Lee Childs. The first one's called The Killing Floor or just Killing Floor. John, it apparently has cracked the top 4 or top 5 most watched show of all time out of Amazon. So much so that they just announced about 35 minutes ago, season 2 is on its way. It's been renewed for a second season. With star Alan Ritchson will be obviously returning to reprise his role as the main character, Reacher. Now, the nice thing about this series is that it's completely based off of the first book. It's a one and done. Now we're off to another adventure. There are 26 books available for them to adapt. John, do they go with book number 2 called Die Trying? And if not, what Jack Reacher book would you suggest that they go for to adapt for a story, for a season-long story?
I feel like for season 2, they might want to create something original, and either go back to Margrave or something like that, or Margrave, or but yeah,
nobody wants that.
But yeah, the problem is
nobody.
I don't know. I don't know how hardcore of a fan you are of Reacher. But, Reacher, Jack Reacher has I don't know what you would call it, like a tribute series, which is it's like a looking for Reacher. So it follows 2 detectives that kind of show up in Reacher's wake, and the storyline follows them, like trying to figure, trying to catch him. So I've read a bunch of those. That's how hardcore I am.
Those are fan fiction.
Yeah, it's almost like a fan fiction, but I think it has been approved, or like, or given the thumbs up from Lee Child or whatever.
Okay.
But they take characters from the books and throw them in, and then they go to Margrave and they talk to the town and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting. But the problem is, I think you've stated this before. A lot of the books kind of bleed together, so I don't remember which book is which. And for this one, without getting too deep into it, because I think we're going to have to do a full episode,
and we will.
We're
going to do a full
Reacher.
Season.
Yeah. They did a lot of tweaks. They've done a lot of kind of blending of things from other books into this. Yeah, I think it's been a while since you read Killing Floor. So some of the things that they've added to this, I think, are from later things that happen. Specifically, a couple characters show up that don't show up till later books in the Jack Reacher series. So I think they're going to have to blaze their own path. But I like the idea of them using the story as like a light backbone. But I'm happy with the changes they made. But Rob, do you think they should just go in order? Book 2?
I don't know. Listen, yeah. So like, to John's point, John likes to try to give. He twigs me about Steven Seagal movies. You don't know. They're all just a title. They're all the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot can be said. It's very difficult for me to try to remember what every Jack Reacher book is about. I love them all. They're super quick reads. Like, they're a lot of hella fun. And when you're reading it, you can't put it down. But it's very difficult for me. I have to like read the jacket a few times to kind of remember what the story is about. So do they need to go in sequential order? Probably not. There's a lot of good stories there. But I am very excited that they've greenlit a season 2. I mean, 4 days after dropping on Amazon, and they're already greenlighting that second season.
Yeah.
To me, it's
better than the alternative. The alternative is Jupiter's Legacy, canceled the same weekend it drops.
Yeah. So I would definitely, if you have not had an opportunity to go check out Reacher on Amazon Prime, it's 8 episodes that are just shy of an hour each. It's definitely worth your time. John might just go ahead and rewatch it. I'll probably rewatch the series at some point as well. And John and I are going to do like a full season review talking about it, because we are kind of big Jack Reacher fans. So definitely keep your eyes open for that, coming probably in the next maybe few days or a week or so, once we shore up some time. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm super excited, John, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'm not a fan of your idea. That's like saying, hey, let's talk about Spawn, but let's focus on Sam and Twitch instead. No, thanks. I want the character.
No, I don't think they should adapt those characters. I'm just saying that's how much I've followed the whole Reacher trilogy. But I think they did such a good job. And if Lee Child is on board.
Yeah, he is
on board.
Well, he had a cameo, John. He had a cameo in the series.
Yeah. So if he's on board, then he can potentially kind of rework the whole universe.
Well, he's the executive producer, right?
Yeah.
In none of his books he ever revisits any of the old characters. So he said, aside from like some of his army buddies, he doesn't actually go back. He never goes back to Margrave. He doesn't go back and see other characters. Yeah. So sorry, John. And that, buddy, is the news. End of that one on a high note. So that's it. That's the news.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Rob. Very exciting news to drop at the end there. So if you haven't caught Reacher yet, go catch it. We're going to give you a little bit of time, and then we're going to drop our full breakdown of the season from two Reacher heads, and maybe we'll try and get some noobs on or uninitiated Reacher fans on there or their input. So Rob, let's go. What do we do this weekend? We filled in. Stu was unavailable, so if you're watching this, thanks,
I don't know where it is.
Thanks, folks, for watching the Rob and John show for the last weekend.
hey, it's what the people like. Yeah. Who knows? We missed
Yeah.
we missed his keeping us on track.
So check that out. We covered Peacemaker episode 6 and Book of Not Boba Fett episode 6, right? I think that's what's called now. I think that's the official title. Book Not. They look at the little arrow shoving the knot in there. Yeah, Stu's looking for the one-armed man. I think that's the plot twist, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So as John said, definitely check it out there on the Heroes World YouTube YouTube site. You can check out all the videos there, as well as TGIF with Andre and our good friend Jesse. They do a rundown of all the stuff of the week, as well as properties that they're super excited for, and just going full geek on a whole bunch of different topics. So you definitely want to check out TGIF with Andre and Jesse. But John,
let's kick it. Let's kick it to the 90s.
Oh boys, let's bring up the bracket, John. Thanks everybody for joining. Here we are. We are almost done the first full bracket here. As you know, the last couple of weeks we've been reviewing a lot of these movies. The first week was Last Action Hero up against Universal Soldier. Universal Soldier went on. Hard Target was the next week against The Last Boy Scout. Despite my protests, Hard Target advanced and will be facing off Demolition Man in a couple of weeks. Under Siege versus Toy Soldiers was last week. That was quite the interesting show that we had, John. But no doubt about it, Under Siege did definitely advance, although I would still recommend somebody watch Toy Soldiers if they've never seen it. But this week, buddy, it is Léon, the Professional, taking on Timecop. Once again with your boy, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme at what might be considered the height of his career, like his most successful movie, I think. Do you want to run down some numbers, Rob, or do we want to talk about which movie do you want to talk about first?
Well, I got Léon the Professional up first to run down, so we can jump into that. I hope everybody's ready. Gordon's saying night. Oh, I don't know. I guess he's leaving. So Gordon, it's
maybe he's dropping the mic. He's like,
time for you to go to bed, buddy. Sarah tucking you in. All right, here we go, everybody. Léon the Professional. If you hadn't had an opportunity to check it out, it is on Netflix if you so choose to want to watch it afterwards. Released September 14th, 1994. Léon the Professional had a budget of $16 million and brought in 46.1 at the box office. Movie stars French cinema star Jean Reno, Gary Oldman, Danny Aiello, and Natalie Portman in her first feature role. The Professional was written and directed by Luc Besson. Now, he's directed a few movies like La Femme Nikita, The Fifth Element, but he's written tons of movies that, John, you would love, including Kiss of the Dragon, the Transporter movies, Taken, Lucy.
Transporter 1.
Yes.
Everything else.
He didn't write the other ones, I don't think. Lucy. He also wrote the Transporter and Nikita TV shows.
Lucy is the Scarlett Johansson movie?
Yeah.
No, wasn't a fan.
I never
of
saw
that one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The character of Léon was born out of a similar character that Reno played in the Nikita movies. Now, Besson had actually written a sequel called Matilda that was to be shot when Portman grew up. But the rights to that movie are owned by the studio that made The Professional. And out of an argument between the director and the studio said, hey, piss off. We are going to lock up the script and you'll never have an opportunity to make it. However, John, Luc Besson and director Oliver Megaton from The Transporter decided to reuse the idea of Matilda and adapt it to Colombiana, starring Zoe Saldana. So if you really want to dive into more World of the Professional, you can. Colombiana is on Netflix right now. I actually watched it this afternoon, John. It's probably 802 times more action than the Léon movie, but so whatever. Now, The Professional, when it was released, it garnered mixed reviews. All agreed it was beautifully shot and that Gary Oldman was amazing, but there was some uncomfortableness with the relationship between the two main characters. Rotten Tomatoes has it as a 73% critic score and a 90s movie bracket record high audience score of 95%. So, John, with a record high 95% audience score, is Léon the Professional one of the 90s greatest action movies?
Wow. Okay, that's a hell of a rundown, Rob. So this movie, I had not actually seen previously, so that it was pretty interesting. A couple people have chimed in the comments already.
Okay.
The weirdness of the relationship between the two. So I don't know how much we want to touch on that subject.
That's poor choice of words, but sure, we can.
Yeah. My bad. It's hard because I think if you maybe get a little too uptight, then you're taking it too seriously. But it is like there is some subject matter there that does get kind of dicey. And even I think Portman did make a speech afterwards saying that the response to her role was not exactly desired.
No, it's pretty negative.
Yeah. The well, not negative to her performance, but negative.
Just the idea.
The attention, which I'm glad. I feel like we're in a climate that's changing because one of her issues was movie reviewers were talking about her breasts and stuff like that. And I think at the filming of the movie, she's 13, so that's definitely a no-no. You shouldn't be doing that under any circumstances. You should be judging on her performance and all kinds of other stuff. But let's just talk about the movie overall. I think this is I think a pretty interesting movie, and it does. I don't know how it stands in our whole action element, like you said, that the Colombiana or whatever has like 100 times more action. The action in this is very good, but where this movie excels is creating these characters and creating characters that you actually give a shit about. Like Léon, he's just an interesting character to watch. Like he drinks milk. He's at the movies watching who was that? Was that Fred Astaire or
Cary Grant, I think, right?
And he's like kind of like watching like almost like a child, like it's pretty cool like what they did. And he's got like this plant he's got to take care of and all that stuff. And then when they introduced the Natalie Portman character, they kind of she just I think I sent you a text right away. They killed a 4-year-old in this movie, man.
Yeah.
This is heavy stuff. Like I was like, what? And then they drew the chalk outline. So there's some crazy stuff that goes down in this movie. But I think overall, if you can get past the kind of semi-weirdness, which I think is more acceptable, and I think people were saying in France it's more acceptable.
In Europe.
In Europe, this type of thing is more Europe. But if you maybe look at it with a more innocent lens, the performances are really incredible in this. Like for her to do all that she does. Is there another cut of this movie, Rob? Because I feel like when I saw some of the clips online, I was like, I didn't see that scene. What's going on? So
I think there is a director's cut that is out there that has an additional 20 or 25 minutes of footage kind of thrown in. Yeah, so I agree with you, John. So like, first of all, 1994 was a crazy ass year for movies. And this one holds no exception. I mean, this was up against a tremendous amount of talent that came out of 94, including Pulp Fiction and everything else like that. This movie deserves to be recognized for a great piece of cinema art. I think we have to understand when we're looking at it through a lens, you said like an innocent lens. I think, the people in Europe, when they looked at this, and it has a very European flair to it. It's, the way the storytelling, the way that it's shot. There's not really a lot of action per se. As you said, it's more of a character study of these two diametrically different individuals kind of coming together and learning to live together. But in Europe, and what my impression is that it is a surrogate father-daughter relationship, even though she's like, I'm falling in love with you. She doesn't know what's going on. Somebody that's protecting her, but he has stepped into that father figure role that she probably never really had we could tell she didn't have a proper family upbringing. I think from a North
that was the worst.
Yeah.
He did not have the money. I think it was money, right? He did not have any of the money ready, and he's just chilling at home. Why did he skip out of town?
He didn't care. Yeah,
he even goes up to his wife and is like, I think I screwed up. And then they're just I don't know what they're doing.
Like, and he's like, then they're like
eggs and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with you?
But I think from like a North American lens, though, a lot of people looked at that relationship as being really problematic. So I don't know if they were just inferring. I can understand why that North American viewership tended to be felt a little off guard. It is just a very European flair, but I've always taken it to be it's a father-daughter, like a surrogate father relationship. I don't think that there's anything that's meant to be untoward or uncomfortable. But I do think we have to kind of adjust our perspective when we're watching these movies. And I don't mean you or I'm just talking about like North Americans. We need to kind of understand where the movie is coming from. All that said, holy shit, was Gary Oldman amazing or what? Like, when you see him in that first scene, he's in the hallway and he's got like the Sony Walkman earbuds, right? And he takes them out, and then he starts smelling Portman's father, right? And Matilda's father. Yeah. Because he could sniff out a lie. The minute he puts that pill in his mouth, and then that shot of him stretching out and cracking his back, like, just unbelievable. Like, Gary Oldman is he's a fantastic character actor, and almost everything he does, right from Sid and Nancy, even all the way up to him playing James Gordon in the Batman trilogy from Chris Nolan. Just a phenomenal actor. But again, my question to you, though, and to the group who are joining us, is this an action movie or is this a drama? Because I think the action you do see, it's nothing. It doesn't blow me away. It's not, it's beautifully shot. It's very artistic. It's not overly gratuitous. The biggest action set piece is the end. Mm-hmm. And that's a hell of a lot of fun. It builds up throughout the movie into it, but it's, I feel like it's more of like a drama action, right? I think that the drama takes precedence in the storytelling, and that's not a knock on this movie whatsoever. I just don't know if this belongs as one of the best action movies of the 90s.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the scenes, like the gunplay and everything. So the opening scene is very Batman like, right? So you don't even get to
yeah, that's what you kept telling me.
You don't get to see anything from his angle. The whole opening scene is all the bad guys getting taken out. And you
in
see
the shadows.
Like how, literally he's like coming from the shadows. He strings a guy up, like, so it's very Batman like. And then at the end, he's very proficient at taking everybody, like everybody down. I think me and Rob had a debate on whether all those cops were dirty or they were just regular cops that thought they were just doing their job. Yeah, but yeah. So even Joseph makes a good point here. So action movie with smarts and story, I think that's what helps it. So the dramatic parts that you're talking about is why people care about this movie still, right? The portrayal of Léon and I forget what's Matilda. The two characters is what kind of like sticks in your mind. Like even when Natalie Portman is like handling all the weapons and stuff. Apparently she was trained to do it because I heard that her parents were concerned about her being around all those firearms, so they trained her or got her a trainer. So all that stuff that she does, loading guns and all that kind of stuff, is like all her, and it's all authentic, I guess. But I would say that the action, like when his apartment is being raided, you're like on the edge of your seat for that scene, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if we stack this up, so we're going to get into talking about Timecop, but like if you stack the intensity of the action versus Timecops, do you think that I think I don't know who said it, Joe or who else said it in the comments, but do you think these action scenes, even though there's less, are of a higher caliber than something like what is 100% designated as a popcorn movie, Timecop? Well, that depends. Does it beat those? Right?
Yeah, well, and I guess it's a good question, and that's why I love these conversations, because it's, can you say it's a more realistic action? It's more grounded in reality, right? Then I would say that obviously Timecop's action scenes are not grounded in reality. They're it's a lot of fun. It's a popcorn movie, as you said. But yeah, I don't know. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from The Professional. I quite enjoy this movie. I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. When it came out, I watched it a hell of a lot of times. I remember when I was working at Rogers Video, we only had a few copies in because I don't think anybody really knew if it was going to be anything good, or if it was going to get washed away in what everything else was going on in 94 movies and those releases, right? So, but I would watch the shit out of this movie because it was just so much fun. Like I felt like I was watching a French art cinema movie with American some American actors and some action scenes taking place in New York, right? Especially you got
Yeah.
Danny Aiello and everything else. Like, the whole scene of him teaching Matilda, Léon teaching Matilda about how to be a sniper, right? I thought for sure, like, you think she's actually going to take that dude out, and you could tell.
I thought she was going to kill a guy.
whether it's a president or a senator, he's got some Secret Service in him or bodyguards or whatever. And it's so funny because he's wearing like bright yellow, so it's like you can't mistake that this guy.
He's wearing the fluorescence of the 90s.
Yeah,
probably late 80s apparel.
If he was sweating, I wonder if it would have changed color, like hypercolor t-shirts. But but I mean, that was great. And then it ended up being a paintball, right? And then when he looks and Leon's going through, then he starts to see that it's, they're talking into their wrist, the Secret Service. He's like, time to go. And off they go, right? So
pack it up. Yeah. So like everything else, I think it just adds up that, like, I think when we were originally discussing this, Rob, we were like, yeah, maybe I don't think this is quite what we're looking for. But now that we're kind of like talking it out, I do see why this movie is remembered so fondly. And most, like, for artsy films like this, it usually doesn't hold my interest. But I was watching like this whole movie, like I didn't designate it to a background movie. Sometimes I'll put these on, like, 1.25 speed and do them in the background. I was watching like what was going on. Like it was very intricate. But I think we should talk more about Timecop. So hold on, let me just get to Joe's comment here. Let me see here. Leon has a grit. So Joe, good friend of the shop, Joe, is tuning in with us today. So he says this is the case. Less is more. Leon has a grit factor that isn't too far from the real world vibes. Although Rob does make a point about Western audience rethinking the narrative for Leon and Matilda. So these gritty movies, the more realistic, quote unquote, seem to stand the test of time better. But let's get into Timecop, and then we're going to circle back to Leon, and we'll get everyone's thoughts on what should be advancing in the bracket.
All right.
Let's talk about Timecop.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. Timecop, released 2 days after The Professional on September the 16th, 1994. Timecop had a budget of $27 million and brought in 101.6 at the box office. The movie stars John's man crush, Jean-Claude Van Damme, the amazing Ron Silver, and Sloane Peterson herself, Sloane Peterson, Mia Sara. If you don't recognize that reference, you got to go back and watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The movie is based on the Dark Horse comics titled the same name. The screenplay is by Mark Verheiden, who wrote the comic and has done many TV shows based on comics, including Marvel's Daredevil that was on Netflix. Directed by Peter Hyams, who went on to direct John's other favorite Van Damme movie, Sudden Death, and End of Days with Arnold.
End of Days. I actually quite like End of Days.
I know. I said both movies are in John's top 10.
I own both.
You're a loser. When the movie opened, it did so to mixed reviews, with Roger Ebert calling it a low-rent Terminator, which I don't really see. That's the second time we've had that reference made to one of these movies, and I don't understand it, but whatever. A critic from the Washington Post did state, quote, "For once, Van Damme's accent is easier to understand than the plot," end quote. Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score of 44% and an audience score of 36, so it doesn't do very well. Movie was then moved into the TV world with a Timecop TV series, John. It ran for one season on ABC in 1997. They made 13 episodes, but only aired 9 because it was that bad. They're like, we're not airing the last 4 episodes.
Folks, this is the day before we had streaming, all that kind of stuff. Like, right. I don't know if you were in the same boat, Rob. I remember quite badly wanting to be able to watch this, but having no possible way of watching it.
You didn't have a VCR to record it?
Yeah. No, it just wouldn't be on a channel that we would get over here or something like that. Like, yeah.
There was a direct-to-DVD sequel in 2003 called Timecop 2, The Berlin Decision, starring Jason Scott Lee. And finally, there was an SNES version of the game released in 1995, but like a fart in the wind, it came and went pretty quickly. So, John...
It is terrible. It is a terrible game.
Does Timecop hold up as one of the 90s greatest action movies?
Okay, so with a lead-up like that, maybe not. Okay, so you made reference to the plot with your I think you said Roger Ebert review. So we were trying to go over this. So this guy, Joel Silver, the main bad guy,
Yeah.
his goal is to become president.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But in his goal, he has to go back in time and die in the process.
Okay, so we're gonna, if you want to get the so first of all, he's on the Senate committee that discusses time travel. In 1994, they create this committee. He decides to be the Senate liaison on the oversight committee to approve this black ops funding. And so we're going to skip right to the very end because much like Timecop, we're just jumping all over the place. But at the very end, during the scene in the house, okay, so it's Max. It's Van Damme's character, Max. He's Ron Silver's character is holding Mia Sarah, Max's wife, essentially hostage, got a gun to her head. And he says to his version of Max, the 2004 version of Max, the 94 version of it is knocked out somewhere outside dealing with a guy with a mullet to rival Hard Target. And 2004 Silver says, what you're doing doesn't make it's irrelevant because he has a bomb. And it's like 90 seconds left in the bomb. He goes, we're all going to die here. But you know what? My younger self is going to grow up and he'll become president. And I said to John, I messaged him, I said, that makes no sense because the election hasn't happened yet. Because the 2004 Ron Silver character he's talking about how he's behind in the polls and he's advancing, but the actual election hasn't happened. The whole premise is everybody else is going, oh, this guy, whatever his name is, he's going to be the president. He's the president. You have to understand when he gets to be president, we're all screwed. He hasn't been president yet. So if he dies in 2004, his younger self grows up. He's still going to end up in the 2004 situation. He'll never be president. It makes zero sense.
He'll be dead because in his plan, he is in the house just holding her up to the window and then getting blown up. Unless the original, no, you know, actually the original sequence might not have been him in the window. So he just kind of lost his way in that last plan. And Van Damme.
I think it was him in that. It was him in the original sequence. He never gets to be president.
What do you think of
election?
Do you see the inset picture in there? This is a scene that happened, I think, at least twice, where he's in his car, eating like random shit, and just being evil. And I forget what he does to the person in the other car.
He slaps the guy, and then he takes it in my head and he slams him. And then he tells him, like later on, he goes, "If you are going to work for me, you can't be sniveling and whining while having your face smashed in the side of a car."
It's such a dumb villain thing to do. But
I love Ron Silver.
He had like a plate of some random shit in the
nuts.
car.
He was eating nuts. He kept popping bits and bites in. Also, okay, so John, time travel. I mean, 1994. This movie comes out in 94. It takes place in 94, and then in 10 years we're supposed to have time travel. Obviously, that didn't happen, John.
Yeah. So I think they wrote themselves into a corner.
Super futuristic.
We're working our way backwards, so we're gonna make fun of this movie, and then we're gonna talk about what was actually fun about it. But so 10-year span, they go from cars to these things. I don't know what they were thinking with this.
Those are Cadillacs or town cars. They're Lincoln town cars or whatever the hell they are, but that's like
they were self-driving, I believe, but they were just driving around on regular roads.
Yeah, as if Elon Musk invented self-driving. This is the precursor to Tesla. It looks like
I think we're gonna have to have a separate bracket on who has the worst futuristic cars because we do have Demolition Man coming up in the bracket. And I don't know what else is going to pop up when we start hitting late 90s, but I just thought the car was ridiculous. And speaking of, I think Joe mentioned splits. So yeah, we split. So let's work our way backwards here. Some of these early action scenes are actually a lot of fun with Van Damme kind of like not going as crazy all out with his martial arts. He actually only has a couple kicks here and there, so he doesn't go like full blood sport on us. What do you think of early Van Damme? What do you think of this haircut that they gave him? We talked about Steven Seagal not having his ponytail in Under Siege. Now we've got Jean-Claude Van Damme with
a blowout.
Yeah, I don't know quite what this was, but I think that sole purpose was to sell the younger version of himself, which
Yeah.
I guess they didn't have the technology to de-age him.
Well,
Or
the silly thing
I
is
feel like they could have given him a hat or shaved his head.
They
So
could
he
have
could have
shaved
had
his head.
this
Yes.
more normal haircut.
Yeah.
in the main part of the movie. What did y'all think of his hair?
Also, for a secret society, for a secret, branch of the government of law enforcement, he sure does like to wear his uniform everywhere he went. It's a time enforcement committee, TEC, right? Time enforcement, whatever. It made no sense to me. So you're okay. So I actually sent you a message, and I said, does the plot of these movies, do they get hampered down or kind of thrown into a bit of disarray to serve the purpose of having Van Damme be Van Damme? Meaning, did you really need to have that scene of him doing the splits on the counter? Do you really need to have him doing that?
They needed it in this movie.
No, but it doesn't serve anything in the movie. Like maybe the where he puts his foot up on the kick and the kid on the rollerblades in the mall.
Yeah.
When he steals the old lady's purse and he's like, read between the, what does it say? And he goes,
Wolverine, between the lines.
yeah, okay. So like, did he really? Okay, so maybe that, okay, fine. But the whole splits thing, like I think it felt like it was put in there to remind people you're watching a Van Damme movie. We don't need to know that. We don't need that reminder. We know it's a Van Damme movie, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll throw out a couple questions. I
bought this movie, by the way. I bought it on iTunes because you know what? I will say this.
Do you regret it?
It was $8. I would have been happy if it was a $5 purchase, but
yes,
$8.
$5 would.
You want to know though? This is something though. I will say, this is something that I could throw on in the background every couple of years. Like, you don't really need to pay attention. I am a bit of a sucker for time travel movies and stuff like that, so I like that type of shit. So like, I would definitely watch this again. No, I'm not rushing to see it, but I could. It's one of those things that's like, yeah, I would just throw it on if I, so choose on a, I'm not feeling well on the Saturday afternoon or whatever, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think this movie has more content, comedy wise, than Léon does. So Rob, I've got a couple things to throw at you here. So the whole ending with Van Damme comes back and apparently he doesn't remember his son.
Yeah, that which is weird, right?
Not gonna remember any of his life with his wife.
Yeah,
that is definitely a case of you should have just faded to black after he figured out everything was okay. Yeah, cut that out. The one-armed hanging scene. Do you think that was the most intense one-arm hang? Because he's hanging from the roof of the house, this crazy house that they bought, and holding his wife in the other hand.
John, I gotta correct you.
Yeah.
He was hanging on to the eaves trough.
Yeah, that thing would break in a second.
Yes. Yeah. Hire that eaves trough installer and let me know how long were those spikes the eaves trough was used, because I was watching it going.
It looked like some type of classic house. I don't know if maybe the classic house has stronger eaves troughs, but yeah, I was gonna say, is that only superseded or replaced by the Captain America holding the helicopter scene?
Yes, and Thor trying to bring together the to open up the star to be able to forge Stormbreaker.
Yeah, okay. And the next question was, and I think we talked a little bit about this, why is there a wall at the end of the time travel track other than to murder your guys if anything goes wrong?
Right. So the whole premise of the time travel thing actually kind of makes zero sense. Like, you're in this car pod and you're sitting like this, all right? And you're propelled towards the wall, and it looks like a giant A with a hole in the middle, A-hole. And you go through, and all of a sudden you end up and you're walking, or you fall into water or whatever. And then when you come back, you push a button on your thing and you walk into the time bubble, and somehow you end up back into the chair. I never understood that. I didn't understand how that happened. But to John's point, when you go through that A,
do they show them ever returning?
Yeah,
Like
they did.
just say,
Yeah, he came back. Remember, he kept looking at the
no,
wall.
no, but
and it was different.
but do they show how it activates? Because they're like, there's a thing,
No,
there's a module.
no,
that
it
they
just
have to-
goes one. I think what happens is the
Do
people
they
who
set
are
up
there.
2 chairs and sit down in them?
I think the people that are there when they watch it, they see the thing go and they see it come back. They don't see, but which is weird because what happened to the wall? So they have the A with the
gone.
yeah, they have the A with the hole. They go through, but there is a wall to the end. And when he's taking that girl and they're going into the past, he's like, "Watch out for the twins, the Thompson twins." And she goes, "Who are they?" And then there's 2 round red blotches of blood next to each other, and he's like, "Those are Thompson twins." The problem is, though, is that they're sitting back to back. So how the hell did one person's head get right back? It made no sense, John.
It drifted. Before they launch, they have to do something to relax. Jean-Claude Van Damme takes out his bubble gum. And just starts like trying to like, he's like, I want to make sure I don't swallow my tongue, or I don't remember what he says. Rob, what and people in the chat, what would you do to relax yourself during the launch? Would you be like, pass me some drugs, give me these edibles or something like that?
Well, the thing is, I don't know if you can relax, because even though he's been through this 1,000 times, his face looked like we were watching Guardians of the Galaxy when they're bouncing through all the remember the time portals and their faces were all going wonky?
Yeah.
Like he's like, and he looked like he was in pain. So I don't know what could you do to relax? Probably nothing.
Yeah. Maybe listen to music. Okay, my final question with this movie. If Jean-Claude Van Damme's wife hooked up with the 10 years older version of him,
right,
is it considered cheating?
No.
You don't know if that is actually, in fact, your husband from 10 years later.
Do you think she would know?
That looks remarkably like your husband.
Maybe she would know. Maybe he's got like a birthmark somewhere, and she's like, "Oh, there it is."
Even if he's from 10 years later, I feel like it's semi-cheating.
I think it's okay.
Especially if she leaves younger version of Jean-Claude Van Damme at the mall.
Yeah, exactly. What you don't want to do, though, is have a menage a trois, because you can't have two
matter cannot
matter, the same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So you wouldn't want to have that.
Say, what if they hooked up?
Yeah.
What if they hooked up and his son is actually the son of the 10-year-old, a 10 years older version of him with her?
Oh man, could you imagine? So now you had that photo though of Ron Silver's character melding into Now again, this is 1994 technology and video graphics.
You said they also worked on End of Days, because they did a similar thing in End of Days.
Yeah,
where the devil would merge with people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea, that premise is pretty cool, because we've seen a lot of time travel movies, John, and TV shows where the future self high fives his younger self or whatever. There's a movie coming out that we saw a quick little snippet for on Netflix. They released what's coming out in 2022, and there's a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and he goes back in time with it's Mark Ruffalo, and he goes back in time and he sees his younger self. He's got his arm on his younger 10-year-old self's shoulder, like. So we always see that. I thought it was an interesting plot point that, the same matter cannot occupy the same space. Oh, that was pretty cool. I have a question for you though, John. Did you think it was just punishment? Like, apparently that's all that. Not only is it an enforcement, like the cops are enforcers, but they have their own like trials, their own judges. Like, it's a whole separate judicial legal system, and if you're found guilty, it's not even like you're 10 years in cryotubes. You're executed, and they put you right back into a spot in time.
They throw you back into falling off the building.
Yeah, the guy was falling, right? Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, that's Timecop. I don't know.
That's Timecop.
Did you like it?
To make fun of. I still had a okay time with it. I think going into this, I did state that I don't like, even though Timecop is his biggest movie. Yeah. For some reason, it's not it wouldn't be on my top 5.
Van Damme
for Van Damme. Yeah. So I think I think he follows this movie up with The Quest, which is terrible, and Sudden Death, which is definitely passable. and I feel like it's probably more fun than this movie. So it's kind of funny. I feel like when we were going into it, did you watch Timecop after you watched Léon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when we were going into this, we're like, yeah, Léon doesn't have enough action, so we're gonna Timecop's gonna take this. But now, upon reflection, Rob, how do you feel about Léon versus Timecop? Let us know, guys, in the comments. Who do you think should have answered? Which was your favorite of the two movies? We did do a YouTube poll, and Léon did win that poll. But if if you want to make your words heard, get that in now. So, Rob, what do you think?
Yeah,
overall?
I mean, two completely different movies. I will say Timecop's opening scene with the Confederate soldiers and the guy blowing away with the machine guns might just be one of like in the top 50 openings of movies of all time. That is a killer opening. But popcorn movie versus, serious dramatic action movie. I you know what? Like, it's weird because I'm really torn on this one. I think it should be an easy selection, but I'm kind of torn. But I'm going to give it to Léon, the Professional, just because I felt like the action was earned, and I cared more about that movie than Timecop. And so to say that, with my last caveat being, I said I could put Timecop on anytime and watch it, not really pay attention. Léon, I couldn't do that. Léon for me is like, I can't put Pulp Fiction on or Reservoir. I can't put any Tarantino movie on and just kind of have it in the background. I need to make the time to sit and watch it because I respect it. And so I respect Léon, the Professional, enough to be able to want to sit and watch it. Timecop's on over the shoulder. I don't need to pay attention. So for me, Léon, the Professional is advancing.
Yeah, and I think it fit our criteria that we talked about when we talk about a lot of newer movies, world building. So the entire world, like, even though Léon, you don't feel like they built a world, they kind of did, like the world of cleaners, and the bad guys, like that guy who was holding Leon's.
Jonathan Yo says, "I don't respect Van Damme." That's not true.
You respect him in Bloodsport.
yeah, I very much did respect.
You look like a Frank.
Yeah, put up your dukes.
Put up your dukes. Yeah, and then Timecop, it got its chance. It got a sequel, didn't work out. It got a TV series, didn't work out. Loki, the new series. I think I made a comparison between
you
Loki
did
and Timecop, and I feel like it stands. But I would actually, even though Loki, I think we've met with mixed reviews, I feel like I would watch that before I go back to this, because I have so many other Van Damme movies I would rather watch over this, including Hard Target, which we talked about already.
See, now I would actually pick this over Hard Target.
You're bonkers. you're oh no, yeah, I remember No Retreat, No Surrender. Van Damme was the bad guy in it, and the protagonist was a kid learning from the ghost of Bruce Lee. So good luck with that.
I told you before, I've been watching a bunch of old Van Damme movies because trying to understand. I just watched that, whatever the one when he's the two twins.
Double Impact.
Double Impact. It's horrible. Yeah. It's so bad.
But it's got Bolo in it.
Yeah.
And Van Damme. But yeah, so we're sending Léon through. It's kind of semi-surprising to myself, I think, there. But only because I had not watched Léon. And at the time, I was thinking of sending Timecop through. I hadn't yet rewatched Timecop at that point. But man, was it fun to make fun of. So our bracket stands as this. So round two, I don't know how you want to do this next week, Rob. I guess would we go from the top, or you want to go?
Yeah, we go from the top. I mean, I guess we go from the top, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess in theory we could probably do both the two top two, because we've obviously already seen Universal Soldier and Hard Target, but then we've got True Lies and Demolition Man, which are just two movies that we need to watch, right? So do we want to watch both of those and discuss both as brackets? I think we could do that. We've already said our...
Yeah, let's talk about what it is. So round two is True Lies versus Universal Soldiers. We had a weird number of entrants. So a couple movies got buys, which we knew were heavy hitters.
Yeah.
So we automatically jumped them to the second round. So that would be True Lies versus Universal Soldier, Demolition Man with Stallone, Sandra Bullock, and Wesley Snipes versus Hard Target, Point Break, Keanu Reeves, our first Keanu Reeves entry into the 1990s, versus Steven Seagal's Under Siege. And then Keanu Reeves comes back for more in Speed, 1994, versus Léon, the Professional. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Some people are saying that Léon beats Speed. I don't know about that.
And, well, last week we had a lot of people saying that Under Siege would probably take Point Break. I think it
Get out of town.
They did. If you go, we were talking about it. It's going to be really tricky to see what happens next week. So, are we up for doing True Lies and Demolition Man?
I don't know. I feel like we could talk about one movie each, but I feel like that's another 4 weeks. We're stuck in the 90s if people want to get like a break.
Because we still have to do 95 to 99.
Yeah. So we might throw some other more modern movies in the mix before we jump to that, or do something else. But let's mull it over for a second, folks.
Well, what do you guys want to do? I mean, because we talk about 2 movies every week, so you're watching 2 movies. And discussing 4, but we've already, we know the points on the other one. So I think, to be honest with you, John, I think we could fly through. We reviewed True Lies, and we know what the points are going to be up against Universal Soldier. We can make a determination. The same for the next bracket. We watch Demolition Man. We know whatever it's up against. And we can do the rundown on Demolition Man, and then go up and see what happens. So I think we can get it all in one show.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned because I feel like these first 2 matches, True Lies and Universal Soldier, Demolition Man, and Hard Target, are going to be easy decisions. But it sounds like some people are going to be divided for Point Break versus Under Siege and Speed versus Léon. Although I feel like it's a Keanu Reeves showdown in the semifinals. I feel like it should be Arnold versus Keanu in the finals. But anyways, so let's go with 2 folks. What you want to go with the top or the bottom, Rob?
Let's go with the top. Let's leave let's leave the bottom for the week after. That'll be
the juicy stuff. Okay, so I feel like these ones are gonna be easy. So True Lies, folks, watch that. Demolition Man, watch that if you haven't already watched it. 2 of my favorites, 2 of my all-time favorites. I feel like I haven't seen Demolition Man in some time though.
Funny enough, it was on CTV Sci-Fi just on the weekend. I ended up recording it because it's not. You can. I can't find it on streaming. True Lies is on the Crave Stars extension. If you have it, you can watch it there. So I say, So we're good to go. I'm excited for next week.
If you guys want to tank all 4, like me and Rob did watch Point Break and Speed recently for our Keanu.
No, we're not going to go all 4 because that's too much.
Yeah.
Because those last two are going to be way too crazy. We'll do the top 2 and then we'll do the bottom 2 the week after that.
Okay, yeah. So we got those 2, that 2, and then we'll have a 3rd show, which I think we'll be able to take care of everything. So to be able to finish this, Voltron. What's he talking about Voltron all of a sudden? All right, cool. Rob. Anything else we need to talk about before we sign off, folks? Thank you everybody for sticking with us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching these movies with us. They were a lot of fun. Definitely get at us in the comments what you thought of these 2 movies. Did you think Léon should have won? Did you have a special place in your heart for Timecop? Should it have gotten a little further? I know Rob's a sucker for time travel movies, but this is definitely not a good example of a cohesive plot for one.
No, it is not. So definitely True Lies is currently on the Crave on the Stars extension, and Demolition Man, you're just going to have to find that by your own means.
You should own it.
It was on this past weekend on CTV's Sci-Fi channel. I PVR'd it, so I used to own it. I don't know where it went. So
you should own all these. These 4 movies we gave the buys to, I feel like you should own them all.
Yeah. I just saw True Lies like back in the end of summer. So, But anyway, I'm good. John?
Yeah, no. Thank you, everybody, again, tuning in. Give us a subscribe if you are not following us already on the audio format. So we are on iTunes and Spotify. Check us out there if you want to follow us on the not YouTube. Yeah. But definitely join us on the live shows. This is a lot of fun. You got to be here for this. Be well, yes, be well. Oh man, damn it, Demolition Man, so good.
All right.
Hard Target definitely doesn't beat it.
Well, we'll see. We shall
Spoilers.
see.
I love Hard Target, but yeah, no, you can't beat that. Yeah, and we'll compare the futuristic cars from Demolition Man to the futuristic cars from Timecop.
All right,
and I think we'll have some fun. All right, thank you very much, Rob. Thank you everybody in the chat. We will see you guys later in the week for Jack Reacher coverage, and we'll see about Peacemaker, Book of Boba Fett.
We got the finale of Book of Boba Fett this weekend. It drops on Wednesday, so we'll review it for the weekend. And yeah, John said Peacemaker, the penultimate episode, drops on Thursday. So
will Boba Fett show up in his own show? I feel like he's more likely to show up in Peacemaker. But anyways.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Check you later.